Boker Tov, with the completion of Masechet Pesachim, we have a few days till Shavuot. I was looking around to see what to do, and I found here the Sefer of the Chida. There's many Svarim. One of them is called Chomat Anach, and he has a Pirush on Megilat Ruth, which is just a few pages long. And I think over the next couple of days, we could go through some of the highlights of his Pirush on Megilat Ruth. So we're opening up at the beginning, and it tells us that Elimelech was a person from Ish mi Bet Lechem Yehuda. It doesn't say in the Megilah that he was from Bet Lechem. It calls it Bet Lechem Yehuda. So why does it say that? So the general explanation, as explains the Ibn Ezra, is that Bet Lechem Yehuda, it was the place of bread for the Judea. For Yehuda, the area of Judea of Eretz Yisrael, it was the place of bread, meaning it was a hub for Parnasah. Now, Elimelech was a rich person, and the reason why he left Eretz Yisrael was because there was a famine, and he didn't want to support his brothers. So he left with his wealth. So here says the Chida, Mi Bet Lechem Yehuda. Yehuda has in it Hashem's name, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, and Dalid is the four directions. So here it's a hint. Bet Lechem, where you want to get your Lechem from, you want to get your Parnasah, it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That runs the entire world. It's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And to remember that, unfortunately, he didn't remember and take that lesson. And then we talk about the two daughter-in-laws that they took, the non-Jewish daughter-in-laws they took, which is Ruth and Orpah. Orpah, we know, turned back, and at first she wanted to come to convert, but she turned back at the end. And he says Orpah is the same letter as Ha'afar, the dirt, like the Nachash, it's like the dirt, meaning she had a very low level of connection, and that's why she went back. But Ruth is the numerical value 606, which is the mitzvot that she added to herself, because she had 7 mitzvot already. She added another 606 for 613, and therefore she was adding of mitzvot, which is Torah Sheba'al Peh, which connects to Malchut, which connects to royalty, and therefore she was on a higher level, and that's what was able to bring her to Tachat Kufnei Shekinah to properly convert. The Megilat tells us that when Naomi was traveling back to Eretz Yisrael, it says Vateshev Misdeh Moav. She went and she dwelt in the place of Moav. And here the Chida says Vateshev is lashon teshuvah. She did teshuvah for taking daughter-in-laws that were from Moab, and that's what it means. Vateshev Misdeh Moav. She did teshuvah for it, meaning even though it was Elimelech, the father of the house, was really the one. She was just, especially a lady back then, was just kind of schlepped along into the decisions that the husband made and the sons made, taking non-Jewish wives. But now that the husband passed away and her sons passed away, and she's walking back just with her daughter-in-laws, Vateshev Misdeh Moav. She did teshuvah in the place of Moab. And it says when Naomi left, she left the place that she was from. Now, here he says, we know this already from Vayetze Yaakov Vayelech Harana. Famous question is, why does it say Vayetze Yaakov? Yaakov left, Vayelech Haran, and he went to Haran. Just say Vayelech Yaakov Haran. Yaakov went to Haran. And the explanation, as Rashi says, is because when a tzaddik leaves the city, it leaves a very big impression. He leaves the city, wow, now the city is like empty, so to speak. Here as well, she left the place that she was from, because it made an impression that she left, that now it's Tzaddik and Naomi, she left. But he explains that there's a big difference between leaving a city in Chutz La'aretz and leaving a city in Eretz Yisrael. If a Tzaddik leaves a city in Chutz La'aretz, your impression that you leave is only on that city. Whereas if you left the city in Eretz Yisrael, the zechut is for the entire world. And that's what he says over here. She left that place that she was from, meaning the only influence she had was in that place. The only zechut that she had, that governed, so to speak, was only in that place, in that city. Then she went to go back to Eretz Yehuda, to go back to Eretz Yisrael. Says the Midrash, she was going on the path, and they were talking about the laws of Gerut, about conversion. And the gematria of Telachna Baderech is Hayu Behalachot Gerim. So Behilchot Gerim. So Vatelachna Baderech Begematria hayu b'hilchot gerim. They were talking about the laws of gerim. That's the gematria of traveling on the path on the way to Eretz Yehuda. And the last point he says is the following: that we know that Naomi tried pushing Ruth away and say, "Hey, don't convert, don't convert, don't come with me." And the reason the Chida says why he pushed her away even more was because at that point she was a Moaviyah. We didn't know the halakha yet, and that was a big discussion because the Torah says Moavi ve'amoni lo yavo b'kal Hashem. A Moavi, right? A Moavi and a Moavi and Amoni cannot convert, cannot marry a Jew. Now, here's the thing that maybe we're not clear about, but to clarify it, they're allowed to convert. Even a Moavi man can convert and be a Jew. They just can never marry a Jewish lady. They can marry a Moaviyah that converted. They can never marry a Jewish lady. They can convert, but they can't marry. So it was not yet taught, it was not yet clarified if a Moaviyah can marry a Jew or not, which later it was clarified. Shmuel HaNavi says, yes, that is the halakha, etc. At that point, it wasn't clear. And therefore, Naomi was telling Ruth, you're a Moaviyah. Even if you convert, you can't get married to anybody. So don't convert, don't. And what does she answer, Ruth? Tzaddiket, Ruth, she says, wherever you go, I will go. And even if I'm not going to get married, ki zakanti miyot ish. So she's saying, so Naomi says, I'm not going to have any more children for you. But Ruth tells back, even if I'm not going to get married, I just want to be tachas confession, and I want to convert. And it's of course a great level. And for no reason whatsoever, I want to be part of Am Hashem, and even if I'm not going to get married. And then later it was discovered that Moaviyah is allowed to marry, and therefore she ended up marrying Boaz, etc. But at that point, it was not yet Yadua, and the pushing away was because, hey, you're not going to get married to anyone. And nevertheless, Ruth says, I still want to come and convert, even if I'm not going to get married to anyone, which is an unbelievable level. So that concludes actually his pirush on the first Perek of Ruth, and we have 3 more Perekim to go, with 3 pages of highlights, B'ezrat Hashem, which we'll mention over the next couple of days, till Shavuot, B'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Yochanan Yemen HaKasher Omer, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'zakot Yisafich HaChiba L'em Torah Shene'emar, Adonai Hafetz L'man Tzidko Yagdil Torah ve'yadir Kaddish. Amen.